Right, 8 March 2024, and I'm very happy to be giving you the last update of the week, of the working week. And normally I do this on a daily basis very quickly. So today I want to look at the latest developments around ED, and there has been a lot of rumors and speculations about what is happening with Mnangagwa security. I have not been handling this issue for a long time. I last spoke about this in December. You remember in December, around the 23rd, when Mnangagwa met Wadzanai Manyore at his farm when he was on leave. That is when I started recognizing this pattern that ED was being guarded on top of his normal security and presidential guard. ED was now having an armed military person everywhere that he goes, and this has become even more clear. But what has been happening is that Mnangagwa's people in the media, or the official media or the government media, have been trying to downplay the fact that ED is being guarded by soldiers. If you look at Mnangagwa's pictures on his own social media platforms, he does not show the military, but it has now become impossible because now they are standing behind him. So before they were in the shadows, but now you can see clearly that ED is under the guard of the military. Particularly, he's under the guard of Airforce. So the guys in the Airforce. So if you look here, so look at this picture here. This is from yesterday, and you can clearly see the guy who's standing at the back there. Look at his hat, his beret, and look at this guy here, who is the new Air Force guy, and look at the security guy here. So these are the same guys that have got ED under guard, and normally there will be these guys guarding ED, but currently everywhere ED goes, he's got a military person on top of the normal security that he's got. So look here, look behind him there. That is the guy who's guarding him everywhere he goes. He cannot step away from the security guy. Everywhere he goes, the security guy follows him around. And this has been a feature since he went to Uganda, and since that time I told you about that he met Wadzanai Manyore at his farm in Kwekwe. So security around ED, in my belief, is now under the control of two groups. So that is the military guys and the normal presidential guard. If you contrast with Mugabe, Mugabe was guarded by police. And so Mapuris are the guys who are normal ordinary police. Those are the guys who used to guard Mugabe. So look here. This is Mugabe here. Mugabe behind him, he used to have police. So guys who are ordinary cops. There was no military out behind or near Mugabe. But with ED, everywhere he steps, there is a military guy who is actually taking care of him. I wanted to find a picture of Chiwenga to show you the contrast. Chiwenga is still being guarded by his normal team. He's not guarded by the military guys. Let me actually give you one picture of Chiwenga so that you can see what I'm talking about. Chiwenga is moving about freely. He doesn't have much of a care at all. And I understand what is happening. The military is very concerned about access to Mnangagwa. From the reports from the United States, which was done during that press conference when they were announcing the sanctions, it appears access to Mnangagwa was not for sale. So people were paying money to see Mnangagwa. So let's look at Chiwenga. Here is Chiwenga. You can clearly see that Chiwenga is with a guard around him, but it's not a soldier. And when Chiwenga is there, the soldiers are not there. So when Chiwenga is in the picture, the soldiers are not there. And when they're in the picture, they don't wear a hat. So you can see clearly that if a soldier is behind Chiwenga or someone in the military is behind Chiwenga, they do not wear a hat. Very telling and very important. And so my belief is that the military guys are trying to send a message to Mnangagwa. So look at this guy here. They're trying to send a message. They want you to see them. So they want you to see that they are there. It's not something that is happening by itself, but it's a clear strategy by the military guys to show you that they are behind Mnangagwa. They're standing there. Let's look at here. So previously, he had presidential guard. You can see the presidential guard there in green. That was presidential guard. Those guys have been removed from behind Mnangagwa. And the new guys that are there are these ones. The guys that stand behind Mnangagwa. So this picture that I showed you earlier, and this picture that I showed you here. So I don't know if this is the same guy, guys. You can confirm if this is the same guy. These are two different meetings. You can see that this is another guy and this is a different guy. This kind of thing that was happening around Mnangagwa, like where you've got these young ladies hanging around Mnangagwa and dancing. You see this young minister here, she's crazy. And these are the kind of people who are now hanging around ED. And a lot of things happening. So it's a very big crisis. I don't think many people understand it. If your president has got questionable characters around him, like dealers and hustlers surrounding your president, that's a very bad thing. But the implications from Mnangagwa are massive. If he had people selling access to him, if the military guys are now standing next to him, one, they're keeping a record of who is meeting Mnangagwa. Two, they're keeping a record of what it is that is happening between those people. So I'm sure that even now in private settings, the military guys are now there behind Mnangagwa. So this is something that I believe Mnangagwa does not want. He does not want these military guys to be guarding him. Because if you go to his platforms, he doesn't show it. They do not show pictures with the military guy on his Facebook, on his Twitter, and on his office of the president. They don't have that. And my understanding is that there's now different kinds of movement. So I don't know how the security of Mnangagwa works, but all I can tell you is what I see here. That Mnangagwa is now being guarded by military. What are the implications of that? I do not know. But we'll soon know. We'll soon know what is happening. Is Mnangagwa under some sort of guard? And is this normal? Is this just heightened security following what happened in Vic Falls? So you can see here, I showed you this picture before. There's a senior Air Force official right at the back there who is everywhere where Mnangagwa goes. And obviously, when you're in public, you want a guy who can respond. This guy, or the guy, I think is there for just to show that he's there. But the younger guy, I'm sure he is someone that can respond. And I'm sure he's an armed guy who's standing right next to Mnangagwa. Compared to previously, when Mnangagwa would just move around by himself. So now he moves around everywhere he goes. There's a military guy on top of his own security. There's a military guy who is over there with him. So let's watch the situation that is developing around Mnangagwa. Access to Mnangagwa and the issues around the military and the third term. They are going to play out between now and Independence Day. You're going to hear a lot of stories. And I hope that nothing dramatic happens because there's a possibility that something could happen. And obviously, if anything happens, we all know. We all know we'll be talking about it here. But massive change since December, so when Mnangagwa went to leave, on leave that very week, I started noticing that the soldiers are now appearing in pictures. They are now so tightly close to Mnangagwa. Is this military guard? Is this normal guard? Is the military fed up of people accessing Mnangagwa through the back door and making the president a mockery? I think that is what is happening. And I don't think Mnangagwa is happy with the military guys standing near him. I don't think it's their choice. I think this military guard was forced on Mnangagwa's team. Someone has made a decision that on top of the normal security of Mnangagwa, they now need to have beefed up security. So you can go and check out on the internet. I've seen a lot of speculation about Mnangagwa and the security team. So go and check it out. There's lots on Facebook, but they're faceless characters. So when you see a YouTube that is speaking and you don't see the face, like you're seeing Gambakwe, obviously you have to question who is behind that Facebook, that YouTube, who is behind that voice. Normally, the people behind such voices are either YouTubers or they are people that are working for one side or the other. Then I want to go to, so I think we've covered that. Let me know, guys, if you've got questions about that. If you want me to clarify something, But I think we've covered that. Tomorrow I'll be covering another military story, and then let's take it from there. Let's move on to another story very quickly. 10 minutes. I am terrible with 10 minutes. I'm like Makandiwa, like I speak forever. So let's go to the next page. Next story. SADC is in trouble because of Mnangagwa. You know that SADC is funded by many Western governments. Currently, if Mnangagwa was to become chairperson of SADC, they will lose support from the Swedish, from the Canadians. SADC will become a joke if they allow Mnangagwa to become the chairperson of SADC. As I said, Zimbabwe is not next in line to be chairperson. Mnangagwa is bluffing. He's not going to become chairperson of SADC, especially after the announcement of the sanctions. Mnangagwa will never test the chairmanship of SADC. On top of that, Mnangagwa, you remember that his chance passed in 2019. So that is when he was supposed to become the chairperson of SADC, when he became president through a coup. And SADC said Mnangagwa cannot become chairperson at this time. So he's trying to say, my chance passed, so now it's my chance. And it's not, unfortunately. Mnangagwa is not going to become chairperson of SADC. Then, obviously, let's observe what SADC is going to do. My understanding is that 2 more South African soldiers were killed in the DRC, or in the SADC mission. So I'll be checking those stories tomorrow. I'll give you an update on what has happened. And there are massive military developments around us here in Africa. A lot of military things are happening because of the nature of what is happening now. There is a change in the world where AI is going to take over, and the minerals for AI are in Africa. So for the first time, Africa is the one that has got the minerals that are going to build the chips. I'm not saying Africa is the only one, but there is a lot of those here which are not used. So we don't know how to use those minerals here in Africa. So they are taken to the United States, to Europe, to China, to Russia, all these places, because they've got the plants. So for example, you see lithium plants all over Zimbabwe. And Mnangagwa, they've got no idea what to do with the lithium. They don't know what it works. They think it's just something that is sell and it goes. So they don't know how to make a battery plant, and so forth. All those things that you need, they don't know how to do it. That's why you see all these things going on and on. Let's go to another story. Mnangagwa is failing to complete the Bedbridge Harare Road. I explained to you this. This is terrible. And also the Bedbridge to Chirundu Road, Bedbridge to Blawayo Road. The Zimbabwean roads are a mess. If you look at the Blawayo to Victoria Falls Road, one of the most used road, it's a mess. Bejna Bridge is collapsing. Cars can't move past properly there. So ED and his plan to construct roads is falling apart. Mbudzi interchange is falling apart. They're failing to complete that because they cannot. The corruption there is massive. So all these things are projects that are going to become white elephants. They're going to be disruption. And now they're starting new projects in the cities to uproot the roads in Harare. If you walk in Harare, it's like at Mrambinda Growth Point, the way the road was. First Street, that was one of the most beautiful streets, but under Mnangagwa, it became a mess. So they're trying to fix that right now. Then another story, Scott Sakupanya. The man does not want to stay outside the news. Scott Sakupanya is now going to be the new sponsor of Highlanders. So if you're a Highlander supporter, you've got blood money on your hands. It's coming to you tonight. There'll be an event where Scott Sakupanya, through his company, Butter Brands, is going to be sponsoring Highlanders Football Club. Highlanders fans, I don't know what you think about this. This is a very, very bad thing that is going to happen. I don't know who came up with this idea. First it was Tagure, now it's Scott Sakupanya sponsoring Highlanders. Highlanders, guys, you need to manage your face better. Otherwise, you'll soon be taking money from Sangomas. And what do you call those? Child abductors. That's where you'll be getting your money. Then let's go to another story here. Marin Chombo. So that story of Sakupanya, you can find it in the H Metro newspaper. H Metro newspaper, very well done. The guys are doing a good job. They've got a story that they're leading with here. Let me show you the story. They're leading with this story here. Mazbaba Ishmael. This story is very controversial because this guy is running a cult. a few kilometers from Harare, in the area called Nyabira. And he runs this place like, I don't know, a cult. If you die here, you won't tell your family, they'll just bury you. There's a UZ professor. You can go to gambakwe.com and look at the UZ professor that they killed here. He died, they bury you, and the family will not be told that the guy died. He pretends that he can heal people. So that's Baba Ishmael is probably ZANU-PF guy. I'm sure if you Google, you find pictures of him standing with ED. Those are some of the things why the military are now guarding ED, because he's associating with such crazy characters like this. So go and have a look at the H Metro newspaper. Well done, good job. Those guys are doing a very good job. And as usual, for consistency, you got the Newsday guys. They do a lot of, they're consistent in producing their newspaper. So Marion Chombo has been taken to court over 100,000 bill by Beatrice Mtetwa and Nyambira. She didn't pay when she divorced Chombo. She's been taken to court. And then Fadzai Mahere and Makam, they are going to be replaced on the 29th of April. There's going to be by-election there. So I don't know what was the rationale around Fadzai Mahere quitting. I really feel sad that she quit a position as the MP of Mount Pleasant. It makes no sense why she quit. I don't know. It's a big loss for her. She's always wanted to be an MP, and now she has quit, and she's got no. I don't think she'll ever come back to Parliament again. Probably she has to try Harare Council. I hope that the guys help her to get there, because I don't think you can come out of Parliament and go back again to Parliament. So she either has to go to council as a councillor of Mount Pleasant, or she has to go to Senate. I don't know how that works. They'll probably put it over there. But what has happened is very, very sad for Fadzai Mahere. And then let's go to sport. Sport, we've got a lot of sport news. I said Scott Sakpanya is going to be the new sponsor of Highlanders Football Club through his Better Brands company. He runs a security company, gold company, all those things that he runs. He's got a lot of companies. He's going to be the sponsor of Highlanders, and it's a set day for Highlanders to be sponsored by Scott, because the image there, the image issues of Scott are now going to be translated to Highlanders. And Highlanders, I know, it's got a proud following, and they won't want what is happening now. The administrators of Highlanders are failing to manage that club. And I wish they'd taken Babongile as the chairperson, because whoever is there now is just messing it up. A younger guy will probably do a better job there. Let's go to sport. In sport, biggest story, Masakadza Hamilton has been fired by Zimbabwe Cricket. So bye-bye Tsano. He's been fired because of poor performance over there. Hamilton Masakadza was a good player, but very poor administrator. And Zimbabwe Cricket, ZANU-PF is in there. They're causing chaos over there. You remember what happened a few years ago when I think that's Ozias was involved here. I can't remember. I think that was the guy. The Zimbabwe Cricket administration issues are causing them a lot of issues. Then Prince Dube has left Azam. So Prince Dube is this guy. He's left Azam. Remember, they were demanding 300,000 for him to leave. They've left. They've allowed him to leave without any problems. Let's look at another story here. Sengizo Chabangu says the new Joshua Nkomo. So now in Zimbabwe, we've got two people. We've got Joshua Nkomo and Mandela. And Joshua Nkomo is Sengizo Chabangu. Mandela is Job Scala. So there you are. There's your new Mandela. There's a new Joshua Nkomo in the form of Sengizo Chabangu. Now let's recap quickly. In fact, let's look at the comments then recap. Let's look at the comments. Matsukomango, I know they want to talk to me, and they said 10 minutes is not enough. Mkoma Dominic says 5 a.m. the gym is not open yet, and I decided to open. Yes, Mkoma Dominic, thank you very much for watching. Gambako Media, the biggest media house now in Zimbabwe, watched by over 50,000 people a day. This broadcast that I do is watched by over 50,000 a day on 3 major platforms, which is YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And my favorite people who watch it is Mnangagwa, Chamisa, Mahere, and Wopo. Right, let's look at where is Mkoma MS today? Kiki is missing Gambako news. No, Mkoma MS, I talked to him personally. He calls me, so don't worry. And then Mkoma EM, I don't know what you're saying there. Let's see. Any comments on fiber optic? I showed you the picture on the fiber optic. Mnangagwa and this girl, I don't know what's happening. I don't want to say, I think that's disrespectful. So let me say Mnangagwa and the minister, the new minister, this one. That is the thing that they were doing there. I don't know what is the whole story, but she's very excited to be around Mnangagwa. I remember when Mnangagwa took over, he won the elections, or he said to have won the elections, how excited she was. Look at how much she's cheerleading here. That's amazing stuff. So I don't know, probably we'll know about what's happening with fiber optic some other time. But what is fiber these days? Fiber is dead, guys. I want to tell you that when you look at things like Starlink, it's better to just wait for about 10 years. Fiber is like, it would be like having a phone. You won't need fiber in your house if these satellite systems become prolific. And then Mkoma Gono Creative, you're saying Nanga Wachamisa Gono, Mandisia Mkoma Gavoke. No. And now say Mkoma. And as I said, follow Mkoma Gono Creative TV on YouTube. And Mkoma Andrew Tulani. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching here. Now let's recap. Mnangagwa is now being guarded by the military, and the military are showing, they are deliberately showing that they're guarding Mnangagwa in picture. So they stand right behind him in the way ahead. So these guys are from the Airforce, from my understanding, who are guarding Mnangagwa. And if you look at Chiwenga, they're not there. When Chiwenga is there, or if they're there, they don't wear a hat. So they're deliberately wearing a hat. And everywhere that Mnangagwa goes, there is always a military person next to him. So it's not clear whether this is deliberate or not, or whether he wants this or not. But what I can tell you is that when he posts his own pictures on his own platform, Mnangagwa does not show these pictures. So what has happened to President Uebert? I don't know if this is Zimbabwean, guys. Yes. What has happened to President Uebert? That is the question. Has something happened at President Uebert, or has the President Uebert been placed for a reason? What is the reason? Very important questions, which we are going to answer very, very soon. I think before independence, something is going to go boom, like I said. So this is the situation. And this is all because ED is rumored to have had dealers and hustlers around him who were selling access, like the Americans have said in their recent statements on the Zimbabwean news sanctions, which are on Mnangagwa, his wife Auxilia, and Sandra Mpunga, and Tagwirei, and all the guys who are connected there. So let's see, let's watch and see. And then you can obviously go and look at other newspapers. There's a lot of newspaper stories, especially in the H Metro newspaper and also in the Newsday newspaper. Those guys are doing a great job. And the Chronicle, they always show you stories that happen on the ground. And today we also have B Metro, Manika Post, Kwaenza. It's a massive, massive field. You can read newspapers until you are tired. So that is it, guys. I'm so happy that we've managed to push. My goal is that we become a all-day broadcaster, which is 24 hours. So obviously, as soon as funding becomes available, we're going to beef up our team. And I want us to bring media to the people. I want us to create the first homegrown media company in Zimbabwe that you can connect with. I was so impressed when I went to Mozambique with what the Mozambicans are doing. Young Mozambicans, they have taken over the TV stations. They've got their own channels. So social media, the one that you have in Zimbabwe, is also on TV. So like now, if I go to Harare, funny enough, no one knows me. I walk in Harare from the corner of Harare, and I walk through the whole town, and no one even knows that Gambako is here. It's very odd, and it's very strange. When I'm walking in South Africa, I can barely walk 5 minutes without meeting someone who greets me. But when I go to Zimbabwe, because of internet access, I walk through Harare, I do my business, Harare, and maybe 1 or 2 people recognize me, but they don't watch this thing that we're doing here, people in Zimbabwe. Very, very odd and very strange. So we need to change. We need to go offline. We also need to push these satellite systems. Once they are launched, Gambako Media is going to make sure that we have these in the rural areas. So those are some of the things that we need to do. I've always wanted to provide internet access to people. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much, Mkoma Obe. will be, yes, Mkomatawanda, in ZBC, in Zimbabwe, they know ZBC, and they know the music, that is a radio. So we need to change that. Our people are so behind. They will miss out on this new technology if we don't do something very, very quickly. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and I enjoy your company every morning. I'll see you again tomorrow. If something big happens today, I'll be back in the evening. But otherwise, a good day, and thank you very much.